I think throughout my life, I always had this optimism and desire for love and relationships. And, after a while, you go through this phase of trying to organize your life and organize the storyline that, we assume we can control, right? Like the beginning, middle, and end. And over here is where I'm going to fall in love and find a relationship. And it's like, why would I think that, right? Why would I just assume that love and relationships and, all these connections that you can build are going to happen at a time where you assume you're going to be this polished version of yourself that is the right time to do everything. And to be honest, love is just so unpredictable. You can't just assume that it's going to happen here and there. For some people, it happens at an earlier time in their life. For some people, it happens later on. And for some people, never. Like, we're going to be lonely. I'm just kidding. No. And then that's when you start to get this FOMO, when you're focusing on yourself and everything's going well. There's always this kind of like ups and downs, right? And those lowest points, that's when you're just like, damn, I'm going to miss out on this. I'm going to miss out on a relationship, this experience of having a really long-term and genuine connection with someone. And then that's when you start to overconsume and scroll and see what people are experiencing. And you see these relationships and it's like, man, like I kind of want that right now. And do you want that? Or is it just you want that sort of feeling, right? You just want that feeling and how it looks. And then when you start to meet someone and you have this connection with them, then it goes away. And then you're just like, oh, I'm not ready for it. There's no way you can just say they're a second part of my life. Maybe some people could do that. I can't do that. They're a part of my life. Like split in half, we're together. I'm just kidding. Love to me is accepting someone into your life, and not just anyone, but a genuine connection where you can see it lasting for a long time. And it kind of makes you extremely optimistic in a way. And after a while, you tend to just assume that this is the person you're going to spend so much time with. And then there comes a point in time where maybe it does end for some people. And this is where, I tend to realize like, love is more than just like a feeling and exciting and romantic. It's also a risk. For most cases, it's the biggest risk that we can take. And it's because with love, you're going to also experience heartbreak. There's just so many ways to meet people. And I feel like this is just going to make people struggle with commitment. And, the more choices you have, the more you're going to feel less to commit to someone, right? Especially to one person. And the reason why we have so many options open, maybe it's because you feel this need to see who's going to give you that slightly better feeling, right? Who's going to make you feel a lot better in this scenario. There's a lot of expectations we have when it comes to relationships. And to be honest, it all starts from sort of forcing this love right away. Because like I said earlier, we don't want to miss out on anything. So now that there's just so many options and so many easier ways to meet people, you already have this sort of version of themselves, I would say, like whoever you're talking to, that you want them to be. Like you picture them to be this, like, I don't know, just really interesting and exciting and maybe caring. And then when you meet them, they're the complete opposite and someone way different from what you expected. And it's because you forgot that they're their own person. They have their own feelings. They have their own intellect, their own thoughts. And we kind of just forget that through online and through texting and through just like so many assumptions that we put on them, it kind of just makes you realize that you were never really into them in the first place. You were into the conversations and the surface level things and just the what if in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but a lot of us are sort of into that, like before the stage of a relationship, that sort of what if, feeling. And then when it comes to it, when it comes to that commitment, most people kind of are just like, never mind. Like, I don't know if I actually want this. I have to get my life together first. And with a situationship, it's like you feel this need to kind of go for that feeling and not necessarily include them in your life, but just have them around so you can have this really good feeling around them. And it just feels great. It feels like it's a relationship, but it's not. And with a relationship, you want to include them in your life. You want to take more risks and kind of not necessarily break your boundaries, but sort of collaborate with each other's boundaries, right? Understand each other and try to change things in your life that you normally wouldn't change because you're willing to take those risks, right? And I don't know if you guys agree, but I always have these like sort of visions in my life where, there's a specific person I could think of and you wish you could just have one more conversation with them. You could sit with them and have this sort of discussion and just really talk things differently with them. There's always these sort of what ifs in your life that you wish you can do this and you can do that. And the thing about relationships is we will never know. We will never know if it's ever going to work out. And some of those things that you kind of wish you can do differently in the past, that's really just built off of a feeling like of how you are now. You like where you are, and you just wish you could win them back. But it's not realistic. It's not something that you should do. And I think that they left your life for a reason. They left your life mainly for you to get those realizations, that they not necessarily aren't meant for you, but you were meant to learn something out of it. We're definitely in this kind of era of isolation where we isolate ourselves from so many people, and we have these high standards of like focusing on ourselves and making sure that we're paying attention to our goals and all that stuff. But in reality, that can make you have these high expectations of a person being this version of yourself that you have in your head. I know in this sort of era, this time, it feels like it's very fast paced, and you're going to constantly keep meeting people and then letting people go. And then you just start to feel like, what's the point of even falling in love anymore? What's the point of even having these sort of relationships? But, we'll never know when we're going to experience this like real, genuine connection or love, because I know we get really blinded by the worst parts of a relationship where we forget to really experience and pay attention to the good people that are in our life. And, maybe you don't have these good people in your life, and we surround ourselves by the worst people. So when we go and meet new strangers and these new connections, we have this sort of negative and pessimistic energy towards them, and we don't even realize that it's affecting us. The one thing I promised myself I wouldn't do is I wouldn't try to compare my past and the way I felt with this person and the way they made me feel. And they made me feel like I shouldn't be acting in this certain way. Is don't allow those sort of past experiences to kind of project towards a future relationship or someone that you're even talking to right now. These people you're going to meet in the future, they're going to be way different, and we'll never know when it's going to happen for us. But when it does, I think it's really up to you if you want to accept them in your life and experience all these sort of conflicts and these issues and exciting stories and success with them, or you can just choose to let it go and onto the next sort of path and the next experience that you can find. So I wrote this journal about love, and I want to share it with you guys. A lot of times we crave it, right? And we want it so badly because of what we see online, to the movies we watch, and to the comfort shows and the romance we consume. It fuels us in all different ways to make us not attract, but chase for something that might not actually be for us. And how do we know if they're the right person? It's always, for the most part, just starts off well, gets you so excited to get to know someone, and you imagine all the positive experiences you could have with them. But then when it really comes to it, why do we hold back on accepting that love? What is that fear? Because maybe we're in that focus on yourself phase, which is, the phase everyone feels like we have to do everything alone. And of course there isn't anything wrong with that. But why wouldn't I want to grow with someone one day, struggle with them, include them in my life, and build this bond that can possibly last for many, many years? And it might be tough and we might have differences, but that's the thing about love. It's a commitment you made because you are beginning to trust them, finally trusting your word, and allowing yourself to feel everything and accept them in your life.